As you can see, Robinhood shares soared 15% plus into 117 and some change after hours today. And just on Friday, Robinhood dropped down to $95. And there's a lot of questions with this Robinhood stock, ticker symbol HOOD, of where it's going next. So in today's video, I want to give you some entry points for anyone that is extremely bullish, saying it's time to buy, it's time to buy, it's time to buy, it's time to buy, right? If you're already in, that is amazing. We have early investors inside of our Discord and also others that have had average costs underneath $20. If you have an average cost underneath $50, right, you're sitting really, really pretty. This is a $150 to $200 stock, and we want to talk about where your entry point should be now that it has this positive news of being added to the S&P 500. So without further ado, welcome to the channel. Thank you all so much for the support. We're growing steadily. We're growing a community here of people that want to learn the markets, and not just for trading purposes, but also for long-term investing. And specifically on this channel, I like to technically trade. That means the charts are where the money is. So when you see me pull up the charts in a second, this is where we get our entry points, whether it be calls for trading options, whether it be buying shares and or trading the downside for put options. All right. So without further ado, let's jump into this CNBC article here. Robinhood shares surged as it will be added to the S&P 500. Shares jumped more than 15% on Monday. That marked the stock's biggest one-day gain since April and third best session in the last year. It replaced Caesars Entertainment. The change will take place before the beginning of trading on September 22nd. All right. So we are bullish until they get officially added in, which is another week or so. Now we have some things in play, which are the CPI and PPI report coming in this week, as well as the FOMC meeting next week. Right. So my expectation for Robinhood is to go higher. But before we go higher, it could be a buy the rumor, then sell the news. And then we pick up the dip where we can get in. All right. Especially for those that have never got in. And second, for those that trade Robinhood or want to trade with call options. All right. Robinhood's inclusion follows several months of chatter on Wall Street about whether the company would earn a spot in the benchmark. Remember, before it was already talked about and it spurred higher. Then they were like, yeah, and then it pulled back. Right. Shares slipped in June after the company failed to get a place in the last reshuffling. Right. So back in June, this was a talk of the town yet again. When asked about the potential to join the index, Robinhood's annual meeting, Vlad Tenev, I apologize for pronouncing his name wrong, said he was uncertain but optimistic. It's a difficult thing to plan for. I think one of the biggest things that hopefully planned. So this was planned on coming sooner than later. And it's like, when is it actually going to happen? Robinhood has earned its spot. It's been doing amazing things, getting new investors into the market. You remember everyone's sentiment? If you're an old school person in Robinhood, you remember the old school app back in 2020, 2018, 2019, 2017, like the app was glitching, like you couldn't get in out of your trades. You know, you would try to sell something, you can't get in, you can't buy the shares where you want to. People didn't trust it, right? Now it has brought in this crypto wave along with some longer term options, as well as a great interface, right? Especially with their launch of their new online trading platform, Robinhood Legend, which a lot of you have come to the channel for, all right, from that video. So as well, along with Robinhood, AppLovin, which S&P Global Index jumped 11%. And that is another one that is looking to be added. All right. So without further ado, let's jump into our charts here and look at Robinhood on the charts and see exactly how this was kind of being set up. Okay. So what I was looking for on Robinhood, if you see on my charts here, and anyone that's inside of our Discord community, Leverage University, I had this drawn for a while here where Robinhood was slowly forming lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower high, and another lower low. And it's grinding back into a key demand support area around 96 to 98 bucks. Okay. It ticked down into there on Friday, kind of a capitulation drop here, 105, right back down to 95, and orders were filled right there. Now, I will tell you the trade that I was looking for today that I end up having to take a 30% loss on for a small scalp / day trade. Okay. So I'll explain that. And I do share my losses as well. All right. So with this trade right here, we want to think about trading is different than long-term investing. If you're bought shares, if you're dollar cost averaging, Great, Brian, why in the world would you short Robinhood? That makes no sense. It's because day trading is different from the psychology of share buying. And I talked about that on our Stock Sermon Sundays, which is our weekly market analysis that we do every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Okay. So as I was looking at this, I was wanting to wait until the Monday. I personally don't like to swing trades over the weekend. So what I was waiting for is saying, I like where Robinhood is sitting right here on Friday. On Monday, which is today as of this recording, I'm looking for call options. Okay. Now, you see this big gap right here? Okay. The news was announced Friday after close. And for my futures and Forex traders out there with options trading, right? After hours on options, we cannot trade after hour options overnight. Okay. I can't enter a trade after the market close with options. So that's kind of the caveat there with options trading. So I was waiting to Monday to see if Robinhood will give me a little bit of pop and a consolidation right here around 103 to 104. I was looking for a break of 105. That's what I was looking for. Break of 105, I'm in Robinhood longs and I can control the risk. Here's how the risk to reward would look. Right there. And just like that. Right? There's my low. That's how the risk to reward looks. Very little risk, very high reward. So what Robinhood did overnight and into the session this morning was it was a little bit more. I was looking for a little bit of a bigger pullback to come back to that kind of 105, 104 area. Okay. Because I did not want my risk to reward to look like this personally. Right. I don't like my risk to reward to look like that. So if I enter here off this break and push, that's not the type of trade I personally like to take. If you're a breakout trader, you're like, Brian, this was an easy trade, just calls off open. That's great, right? That's perfectly fine. As long as your trade idea, you're following that trade idea, you can make money anyhow in the market, okay? So now, guess what? I trade off of the charts, and that is a very strong 4-hour candle. We didn't really get that kind of profit taking into the end of the day. We ended up kind of bull flagging off this 115 and continuing higher. So we're coming into what, as we call it, blue sky territory, meaning new all-time highs on Robinhood. It's never been up here before, right? It is extremely bullish. And we've got that 1770 and also that 120 psych level coming up pretty soon. Okay. So psych levels are round solid numbers. Typically we use them in the trading and investing spaces, round even numbers, typically 5s, 10s, go by 5s, 10s. All right. So 120, 125, 130. Okay. So what I want to watch into tomorrow's session is, does Robinhood break into new all-time highs? At this point, I'm just going to be patient on it. I do not want to chase a breakout. I'm not a breakout trader personally. I'm a break and retest or a risk to reward trader. Okay. So right now, the reward tells me more to the downside in the short term. Okay. So I have new people that come on the channel, right? And I always want to make it apparent that, Brian, it's extremely bullish. Why in the world would you try to go against this? It's because I'm thinking of scalping or day trading or anything like that. I would rather Robinhood, because I've already got Robinhood shares. Most of us do. So I don't want to buy Robinhood on a breakout personally like that. If it does, I'll just let it go. I'll just let it go personally, right? I would rather buy Robinhood back at 105 to 108. Okay. Give me a retest of this high here, or give me partially the gap fill where we broke out of this channel. That is how it typically goes. We break out of the channel, right? It doesn't always have to, but this is downward trend, breakout, retest, go, right? That's what I would want. So that's what I was kind of looking for today, is to give me that push down, pick up the dip and run it right back to the highs. And it just didn't do that. Okay. So I'm going to give Robinhood, as we call it, some breathing room. Just let it settle up here for a while, kind of like what I'll show in a second with Google. But this is a Robinhood focused video here because I know it's hot on the streets right now. And so in summary to sum up this video, my recommendation, if you are looking to buy Robinhood, if you're a bull, there are two different types of trades of where you would want to enter. I'll talk about trading and also investing. From a trading perspective, if you're looking to trade Robinhood and you're a bull, okay, you can take a break and a retest. I would personally like it above or touching 120 and coming back to retest 118. Okay. That means you would want to let it break and let it go. One more big push, wait for that pullback like that at 118 and then take it higher. Okay. Look something like that. Okay. So I would want it to break cleanly above 118, squeeze into 120, pull back, hold that 118, and then roll it higher. Okay. So that is a very risky trade in my opinion, because it could be a look above, fail back below, and then we come back down like that. All right. That is personally why I don't like breakout trades, right? There's too many traps on breakouts, right? So that 118, that's one trade you can take. Another trade that I think would be a little bit safer is just let it chill. Let it do its thing, right? Wait for the pullback. Miss the downside trade. Wait for that big pullback to 107 to 108. Find a double bottom, higher low, and take it back to the highs. Okay. I would love this full gap fill, but I think with the bullish strength, the bullish strength there, I don't think it's going to fill the full gap personally immediately. So what I would look for is a retest of some of these previous lows that are sitting right around that 107 to 108 level. All right. You see that? 107 to 108. You can even get an early entry, maybe around 110. Right. So I would mark that area on the charts just like that and kind of look for that pullback. I like that a lot better for call options or trading it on Robinhood. Even if you trade equity or shares, is back into this 108 and maybe a reclaim of 110. All right. Now, that is ideal for the bull scenario. If you are a investor long term and this is your first time investing into Robinhood, right, you can start getting a little bit of a position, but I would not, and I don't advise personally, this is just not financial advice. I do not ever advise someone to buy or get their first position at all-time highs. Just not ideal, right? Do not chase. It's already run from 95 up to almost 120. Okay. The move happened overnight. Don't chase. Wait for a nice little pullback, a red day. It might take a couple of days. It might take a week, right? But wait for that pullback closer to those lower 100s. Okay. But if you don't want to wait and you're like, someone told me to buy Robinhood. Okay, cool. Maybe get one or two shares just to monitor it. And then when you get that pullback entry that you want, you load the boat how you want to load it. Okay. So that is my recommendation on Robinhood. I liked it personally back in the 80s and it did not give that, nice pullback, but it will eventually at some point. Okay. So Robinhood, wait for a pullback. As long as it holds that 100 level now, that is now a nice psych level that Robinhood wants to hold above, is continue to hold above that 100. Okay. Cool. If you are a bear in the short term, okay, if you want to short this, there's two ideas that I would look for to short this with puts. And I would look for that look above and fail. So let it go, right? Maybe to that 120. See if we can get a failure, lower high, back underneath that 118. And then that could be a re-entry right there. Okay. So let it push and squeeze one more time. Let it pull back. Let it fail back under, and then we can find our entry right around there. Okay, I'll show you what that looks like on Google in just a second. Okay, so look above, pull back, fail that previous high, and then we can take it back down. Okay, another one would be break underneath that 114 level. Break underneath that 114 level. Very similarly to here, break underneath that 114. We'll get a retest. And then we can maybe take it down to that 107, 108 level. Okay. Contracts that I would look for if you were looking to short it, because I think that is the best risk to reward right now. I just gave you the bull case, would be to look further out, maybe to the end of the month at this point, And I'm really eyeing that 112 to 110 level. Okay. I don't mind doing out of the money contracts on the put side personally, just to be a little bit safer, right? To technically add into it or not put a bunch of money into something that is trading against a strong stock. Okay. If you're a person that likes to spend a little bit more in the money, right, you can definitely look at maybe the 120s for next week, spending $500. If you're a newbie, I would personally stay away from like trading this right now. Just let it settle in unless you're in a community or being guided in some way. If you're a newbie, this is volatile. There's a lot of traps when volume is being pushed into this like this, right? They want to run it up, then they want to drop it back down, then they want to run it up, right? So the moment you get in, you're maybe a little bit too late, and then you miss the downside, and then you miss the upside because you don't know where it is on the charts. Okay, so I always like to inform folks in that way that you want to have multiple different ideas in preparation of where this is going to go. So I want to really look for that 110 pullback wherever the top is. Okay, so 110 pullback is really where I'm looking at. I want to draw a trend line like this, start drawing that, seeing it just push up, consolidate. I'm going to draw that 120 right there just to see if it wants to continue on kind of that channel like that. Okay. Channel. One more push, channel. Let's see if it can break out of that channel like that. Okay. All right. Cool. There is Robinhood. Here's Google, just so you can see, and I'll show you what it looks like on Apple as well. So Google did roughly the same thing, right? Gap up, tried to pull back, nope, rotated higher, and just kind of consolidated, settled in. And now it is starting to roll over just a little bit. You see this exhaustion break above, fail back under. Okay. Break above, fail back under. And now we're looking at something like that. Okay. So same idea. People are visual in the stock market. If you're still learning the charts, check out my chart video, how to chart. And we'll go from there. All right. So there's the idea on Robinhood. Thank you all so much. As per usual, if you want to join the Discord where we're in here, here's my transparency. We do share our losses. I signaled it in the community. I was looking for an entry right here. As you can see, where is it? Just showing this. Hey, I'm in Hood 109 puts, and I entered roughly around that 114 level. So you can see right here how it looks. I was looking for it to hold underneath 115 and get a little scalp back down to 110. All right, there's my overextended RSI. I started to see the MACD curl a little bit for my seasoned folks. You can see my trade rationale. And I held a little bit because I was in starters. I held a little bit. I was looking for maybe adding into it. I added at the highs at 117, and I saw this, and I was like, okay, maybe this is it. It gives us, and I was comfortable there. Okay. So my average cost was sitting around $124. I liked it. I was fine with it. I just needed a push down into the 112s, and I was going to be profitable. And then you can see how it reversed on me and went higher back to 117. So that is okay. It happens. I liked my trade idea. There's the trend break I was looking for. All right. So I can show the trend there. I was getting the push down. All right. It was approaching VWAP right there. And we're approached it. You see how it's looking great. I just needed a nice break below, and I was going to be right in profit with the rest of us. Everyone was liking it. Cool. I did say, right? I did say approaching first target 113.50 to 114. Let's see how we approach before we get too excited. And there's the bounce. Okay. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm out. And I documented it here, trade losses, and I cut it for, where is it? 35%. Okay. I wasn't even in heavy size, so I was okay taking a 35% loss. That may be more than some, right? But if I'm in very light size, I'm okay 20 to 30% if I'm in light size. Okay. And light size, that would have to be a whole nother video about positioning and things of that nature. But I was okay with that loss. I can get that back easily on a full position. But yeah, there is Robinhood. So it's bullish. Don't step in front of this moving train just yet. Be interested in that 120 level. I'll be watching that closely for the rest of the week. And if I get some type of trap or failure, I will re-enter and short it again. I don't like buying, or I will just stay away from it until we get back to that 110 or that 108 level pullback. All right. Peace, love, and blessings to you all. Thank y'all so much. Join the Discord down below if you want to be a part of what we're doing. Every other idea worked in our favor today. Amazon puts off 237. Nvidia puts off 171. Google puts off a Friday entry that worked well. And MU puts, I'm still watching. All right. All those trades worked out very nicely. It was just Hood that was strong against the market. SPY, QQQ pull back nicely as well. All right. Thank y'all so much. Talk to y'all on the next one. See you in the Discord tomorrow morning. Peace.